This another beautiful day on Your Image, your public relations program on TV. Today, I'm having iconic personalities in the studio, and I'm glad that for some time now, we've had a break and we are back to further expand the frontiers of public relations in Nigeria. Permit me to let you know that with us here in the studio is Professor Olufemi Onabanjo. Professor Onabanjo is a professor of mass communication. He was a journalist. He was, in fact, a communication personality. He was, let me also say that, a vice chancellor, former vice chancellor of a lead city university, Ibadan. Prof, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And I also have a veteran journalist and also a former deputy editor-in-chief of News Agency of Nigeria in person of Dele Akishola. Dele, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, the host of this flagship program in public relations.
It's nice to have you.
And Prof, thank you for the privilege of sitting with you.
I told you that I'm having iconic personalities here today, and we're going to go deep into the issues that is trending in the nation now. We have the issue of fuel subsidy removal. How are Nigerians coping? Particularly with the social dynamics that we're experiencing. So, Nigeria is the largest producer of oil in Africa. And of course, Nigeria is witnessing consequential effect of the removal of fuel subsidy with the attendant changing social dynamics. It is expected that Nigeria, with the removal of fuel subsidy, Nigerians are expecting to have a lot of positive changes in Nigeria. Dele Akishola, is Nigeria prepared for these social changes, particularly the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria? I'm asking that question because President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said that the effect of the educational sector and the students abroad will be changing with the money for education, regular power supply, transport infrastructure, and health care, which will be taken care of by the fuel subsidy removal. What is happening? Are we having positive effects?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, to properly situate the issue of fuel subsidy, scrapping of fuel subsidy by the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his inauguration day in Abuja on May 29, took the nation by storm, took everybody by surprise, and that the subsidy is gone. No, we were not prepared for it. One would have thought that as a nation and as a people, the government, coming from the same governing party, that is the All Progressive Party, All Progressive Congress, to have prepared the nation that by June end or by May end, subsidy will have been removed. And that was largely, can be traced to the doorstep of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, when he signed the petroleum industry bill. He delayed the signing. No, he signed, but he delayed the removal of subsidy till May this year, and he didn't prepare anything for. No provision was made for subsidy for June, which some people call a booby trap for the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But having said that, going by what Buhari said, that if he had removed the subsidy, it would, it will have cost the APC the presidential election and then thrown the country into turmoil, and that which he wasn't prepared for. Because he knew that there's no way he could remove subsidy that it will not cause a socio-economic crisis. And as a leader, you ought to have taken that decision without necessarily passing it to the new administration. But that is now history. No country does that will just take the nation by storm and say, you have removed subsidy. Nobody does that. You put a timeline, you put a date, and say, okay, by the next 3 or 4 months, we're going to do this. I recall that in the past, the previous administrations of Olusegun Obasanjo, Jonathan and all of that, they planned to remove subsidy. And in 2012, when Jonathan was going to remove subsidy, people called him all manners of names, that he was clueless, that that the subsidy was a scam and all of that. If they had allowed, possibly, because the economy was doing well, we had this oil windfall. We had in fact, the country was so super rich that what the country earned from oil windfall was, because the oil, crude oil at that time, I think got to about $120 per barrel or so. And so the nation had enough money. So if they had allowed the Jonathan administration at that time to remove the subsidy, we will not be where we are today. But that is also history. But what I'm now saying is that now, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one cannot ask call for a reversal because we are past that stage now. The deed is done. One would have expected that they put the nation on notice, people on notice. For example, if you say you have removed subsidy, and the assurances by the group chief executive officer of NNPCL, Mele Kyari, that the price of pump price can go up and can come down with time and all of that. And given the fact that Dangote refinery was coming on stream, or promised that it will come on stream by end of July, that this current month, one would have expected that maybe this window, this period will be used, to put in place palliatives before the subsidy is finally removed. Because it has caused social disorder. It has caused socio-economic problems, both for communities, individuals, and for government and all of that. Yes, a lot of money is going to be saved by government, because the argument has always been that the rich has always been subsidized by that so-called subsidy, or petroleum subsidy. But now that you have removed subsidy, and the citizens can no longer, they can no longer think of when or how much they are going to buy the commodity. For instance, in the last 2 days, we are all shocked. I got to the filling station and I discovered that the price has gone up again and again and again. So, subjecting, like the people in the sector is now saying, subjecting oil, petroleum price to the vagaries of market forces, I think is something that is, it calls for worry. It calls for worry because today is 500 what am I talking about? 617 NNPC and 560 in some filling station, 580 and 4. Just I got that. Now, if with the convergence of the foreign exchange rate, now the exchange rate has gone up. As of today, at the exporters and the business windows, it has gone up to 1,000 to $1. If tomorrow or next week, so somebody decides, or a company decides to import petrol, and then they now said, oh, we're going to buy petrol for 700 naira. That, of course, will put everybody, in dire strait. The economy will be in dire strait and all of that. So we are not prepared. And what is instructive here is that what we are talking about is a vexed issue. This issue has been on the drawing board for how many years, decades? To remove subsidy, it is a needed pill. it's a bitter pill that we have to swallow. But preparations, there was no preparation. No, people were not put on notice. Citizens were not prepared adequately, for this shock. Because I will call it a shock.
Well, thank you very much. It could be seen as a shock, but perhaps President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is visioning that with the removal of the fuel subsidy, which recently we learned that the Federal Allocation and Commission is distributing almost almost 2 trillion naira. Probably he felt that this money can be plowed back. And when you look back into the issue that he said if he removes fuel subsidy, that it will free up money for education, to improve power supply, and to also ensure that transport infrastructure and healthcare are provided. Are we in a hurry to allow him to do justice to that? Or what's your fear, sir?
Well, the problem is as a nation, is that we are always in a hurry. The government has just come to power, and we expect that it will solve all the problems that have accumulated over the years. Now, people say he should have prepared us. If he had prepared us, that subsidy will never be removed. When Labour starts its problems, Nigeria becomes ungovernable. So that shock, we needed that shock. Something that was irreversible. It's like cancer. You apply a shock treatment, and then you begin to see how to make the patient to relax. Now, don't forget that previous governments have tried, but failed. There are cabals that have held Nigeria by the jugular. They have been milking the nation dry. For the first time, somebody is confronting a situation headlong. Don't forget that for years, we've been borrowing to pay salaries.
I was about saying so, that will the government be able to cope?
Yes, we've been borrowing to pay salaries. Now, we will just have woken up one day, and Nigeria will have collapsed. We were sitting on a keg of powder. Now, if it had been part of a written script, he would have been dissuaded from pronouncing it, from reading it. But he knew what he wanted to do. Now, don't let us forget that for the first time since rulership, somebody prepared for governance. As far back as 1999, this man called Tinubu has been preparing for governance. He came prepared. So now he has set in motion some of the things he wants to do. Which has been received by the international community as laudable. And you now see that the Nigerian image has become positive. The Western world now sees a leader who knows his onions and is ready to confront Nigeria's problems headlong.
I hope it's not to the foreign benefits, foreign countries' benefits.
Now, don't forget that there's what we call interrelationship among governments. I rub your back, you rub my back. No country can exist in isolation. You have to play the politics. And we have a smart president that can play the politics. So, now he has done what should be done. Subsidy has been removed. People are feeling the pain. But trust Nigerians, we will survive. You see, the Nigerian is like the beetle. You cannot kill the Nigerian. The beetle can. You cannot kill the beetle. And if you cannot kill the beetle, you cannot kill the Nigerian. I will give you some perspective. In the 50s when we were growing up, I've never seen the Nigerian economy as progressive or not bad. It has always been bad in the 50s. We were eating rice once at Christmas, and now people eat rice every day. Even when we were in university, we had the 001. It had already been there in the 70s. When students could not make ends meet, Nigeria did not collapse. And yet, people survived. In 1985, Babangida said, under all economic indices, Nigeria is a failed economy. That is 1985. And 38 years after, Nigeria has not collapsed. Now, I see God here. God is resident in Nigeria. And that's why Nigeria would never collapse. Now, let's look at, yes, it has caused problems. But any time I go out and I ask my mechanic and all the other artisans, have you eaten today? They say they have eaten. Have your children eaten? They have eaten. Have you paid school fees? We have paid. And you say Nigeria is bad.
But there are some citizens that
yes. See, now poor citizens, there will always be poor citizens in the land. Even the Bible says that no matter the amount of prosperity, there will be people that will be poor. And so poverty is not new. It's not something that is new. But then, it's not something we want to continue. We want it to continue. And we can still do something to arrest the level of poverty. But we are not in a hurry. We should not be in a hurry. Because right now, all the panels here are being put into place. Let's leave this man. This is a man that said 8,000 will be distributed, and it's for a reason. People said 8,000 naira is like a drop in the ocean. And they said, he will go back and take a review of that policy. Now, the problem Tinubu has is that is an APC government that is in continuum. That is 8 years of Buhari, and Tinubu has started. But without knowing that there is no sync between 8 years of Buhari and the new APC of Tinubu.
Let me quickly ask, Prof. People are afraid that with this humongous amount of money that has been distributed through the federal government, state government, and the local government, that it may go the way of the other funds and not be beneficial to the needs of the citizens. What's your opinion?
Now, don't forget that there is a new sheriff in town. You see, the Progressive Governors Forum has been reactivated. And the Progressive Governors are going to take their orders from their president. So as far as the Progressive Governors are concerned, they are going to toe Tinubu's line of catering for the masses. And whatever they get, they will be monitored. And it will ensure that they perform. Now let me also say, you see, the problem of Nigeria is over-centralization. And that's why, you see, we keep running away from restructuring. I don't know why it is an abattoir that people are running away from. You see, you cannot take the country together. The country cannot develop together. It's not possible anywhere in the world. Go to the United States of America. You see that there are some states that are more privileged than the other. And that's how it should be. Ogun State can develop at its own pace. Lagos can develop at its own pace, depending on the amount of money that is available. For example, it is foolhardy to ask for a uniform salary across the nation. It doesn't work that way. Will the condition of service in Lagos be the condition of service in Makurdi or in Zamfara?
Probably that's going to be a new paradigm shift. Because the workers will not...
No! They just, you see, every state will pay. Look, even when there are palliatives, and even when salaries are fixed, every state will pay what it can pay.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I don't want to, it's not necessarily anything different from what Prof has said, but that, for God's sake, this humongous revenue that is being generated from removal of subsidy, like we have seen as of today, the three tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, they shared about 2 trillion naira. And each state now, there's no state now that should complain that it is having zero allocation, that all of them have, maybe they have tripled the allocation or at least quadrupled the allocation. So, which means they have more money. Local government, state, they have more money now to be able to channel into agriculture, to be able to, synergize with the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration on the issue of palliative. I don't like this word palliative. I like to call it intervention. The intervention should not be centralized. It should not be by Bola Tinubu. It should be by all across all the 36 states. So that is. For example, I will tell you, we were looking for tractor. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, a group of us wanted to go and plow and then to begin to farm. We came to, there was no tractor in all the local government. We had to come to, it's Ogadep or Ogasep or whatever it's called, in Ogadep. The bill they gave us, over $1 million naira. Those of us that are just starting, and so what I'm saying is that there are no tractors. So such monies should be channeled into procurement of tractor to make sure that people can go into mechanized farming, and then procurement of buses for public use, taxis. I could see Bayelsa State Governor Diri yesterday, yes. Distributing taxis, in the metropolis, so that people can have cheaper transportation. And then, 2, our hospitals. People, with this money, at least the underage, the elderly, should be able to be given free health service, provided free health service. And then beyond that, this money too can be channeled into building of our schools, primarily secondary school. They are in decrepit state, dilapidated condition. About a week ago, a building of a story building of 20 classrooms collapsed at Agbado in for local government area. That building was donated by former Senator Yabo Obasanjo Bello, and it was left there. And then so, also, if you go around all schools now, there's need to do integrity test of all the buildings. So this money can be channeled into that, and for the running of those schools, so that we can have a good education.
Well, I told you we have academic personalities here in the studio today, and time is just too short for them to really express themselves. Well, we are going to expand more on this topic: fuel subsidy removal, coping with the changing social dynamics. It is a problem that Nigeria will have to grapple with. We need to be factual. We need to face realities. We need to come up with new strategies at ensuring that things work in Nigeria. I'm going to put a stop to this discussion for now. Next week, we're going to continue. It is on that note that I would like to appreciate Professor Olufemi Onabajo, Professor of Mass Communication, University Administrator, and the former VC, Leeds City University, Ibadan. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Dele Akishola, veteran journalist, former Deputy Editor-in-Chief, News Agency of Nigeria, and a PR expert too.
Thank you very much for my namesake. Thank you so much. This is the first time I'm having a one-on-one interaction with you, and it's been so. Thank you very much. It's an honor, and we very enjoyed the interaction.
Join us next week as we continue the program. Thank you.